What's good, YouTube? Quinn Wade basketball analysis coming to y'all with a quick, analysis. Um, Now that we at the All-Star break, I wanted to talk about the number one favorite in the NBA, which is the Golden State Warriors, a team that was assembled a couple years ago. Had one of the best backcourts in history. A lot of people saying they're the best backcourt in history, better than Gail Goodrich and Jerry West and all the other backcourts. Um, they definitely have the size, they have the shooting, they have the length. Um, but they added Kevin Durant. People thought it was kind of like OKC could have beat Golden State because it was up 3-1 and ended up blowing the series. Then Kevin Durant, after losing to the Warriors, he joined the Warriors, and everybody said they're gonna go 82-0. They're not gonna lose more than 10 games because remember they won 73 games that year and lost in the finals. Um, and it's crazy that you can look at that team that won 73 games and they lost in the finals. Then they add Kevin Durant. But I always tell people the NBA is only getting better. You look at the worst teams in the league, they got quality starters, quality players. It might not be the superstar players, it might not be the top 5, top 10 players, but you look at the West, you have the Clippers, you have the Nuggets, you have the Pelicans, you have all those teams that's trying to make it. And then you get a team like Utah that won 11 in a row after losing Gordon Hayward and losing some certain people to injury and trading Rodney Hood. They in the playoff race, and they actually have Gobert. They actually has Favors and Donovan Mitchell, and they have NBA quality players. Even after losing Hood and losing Joe Johnson, they still figuring out a way to win. The NBA only has gotten tougher. Most like you seen this year, you seen Jimmy Butler helping Minnesota become a better team. Paul George helped OKC be a completely different team and harder to guard because Russell has somebody that can go for 30. He has another person that can go from 20 to 25 points. In Carmelo, he had Paul George that went for a couple 40, 30-point games this year to help Russ. Last year, Russ did majority of the work. He did dominating the ball. He went for 57, 40. He was doing everything he could to win basketball games, and now he has more help, and he has another player he can rely on, and he has another player that he has confidence in Carmelo. So his team got better. The record-wise, they look like they're going to have the same amount of wins or just a little bit more or just a little bit less. But we all know overall they're a significantly better team with the roster they have now. And so is Houston. They traded a lot of their bench to get a guy like Chris Paul on the roster. They trade Harold and of course Sam Decker, and they had rebuilt the bench. Now they have Tucker off the bench. Now they have Bahamute. Now they have Brandon Wright, Joe Johnson. Still got Eric Gordon, the sixth man of the year. But they lose Lou Williams and all those guys, and they was able to redo and reconstruct the bench. And basically, you got the Cavaliers, the team that was in the finals for the last 4 years, if this year happens, which it looks like it is, but they even made moves to get younger and more athletic and have more switching and have more size to guard Golden State and give them a fit. And basically what I'm saying is Golden State lost their superpowers. Obviously, they've been in 3 straight finals. Remember, they did struggle against Memphis. They did struggle a little bit against the Cavaliers. The Cavaliers actually, remember, they was up 2-1 in that series, and the Golden State Warriors was able to win the last 3, giving them their first championship in years. Obviously, they ended up losing the next year and came back and won last year with Kevin Durant in a blowout first 2 games. He was able to help them close game 3. And if you put that together, the question that's the title and the question that I want you guys to answer in the comment section below, whether you're on Facebook, Twitter, whatever you're watching this video, let me know what you guys think. Because the Warriors, they're not the number 1 team in the NBA. They're not even the number 1 team in the West. They offense is still beautiful to watch. They averaging 30 assists. They still passing the ball. They still trusting each other. They still making the right proper plays. They defense is still in the top five. Usually is number one, but now it's top five. They got the number one offense in the league, scoring the most points, in the NBA. But something just ain't right. And we said the same thing about the Cavaliers this year. Yeah, they're going to go back to the finals. Yeah, I'm picking LeBron to come out the East, but they're going to get destroyed by the Warriors. But now I'm starting to look at it the other way. Houston Rockets has a better record. They have a better point differential. They have a lot of versatility, just like Golden State when it comes to the lineups and versatility and even the bench. Houston match up great on the bench. They have different type of lineups. They have two guys that can torture you. They have a great backcourt. They have guys that can get mid-range, get to the basket, shoot free throws, and they got players that can hit the three and also defend any multiple positions. And that's the Houston Rockets. They can do all that, and so can the Cavs. And, the Spurs was up, 20 points. They blew them out in the first game of the season. And obviously, the first game of the playoffs, they was blowing them out also, and they basically is the third team the whole year in the Western Conference, and they've been sitting players, playing, certain players some games they don't. Kawhi Leonard has not even been close to healthy. Even when he came back, they still was the third team in the West, and he's back going, and they still holding the record, and they still give people tough fights for W's, and the San Antonio Spurs is playing with a bunch of role players, and teams can barely beat that. And that's without LaMarcus playing his best basketball and playing with their best player, Kawhi Leonard. Tony Parker just came back. And you just look at that team and say, this team is going to be tough to beat if they can get fully healthy, and they got a couple more months to do that. San Antonio going to be a threat for the championship too. Obviously, the Thunder, they lost Andre Robertson, but they're going to be a threat also with Paul George and Russell. They can basically heat up and take over anytime they want to, and they can carry offenses, and they can hit big shots when the game is on the line. Obviously, I don't trust them as much as the Spurs, and I don't trust them as much as the Warriors because they take care of the ball a little bit better. They have more of a explosive teams in the Rockets and the Warriors and the Spurs. They move the ball so well. They take care of the ball. They punish you for mistakes. And I don't think the Thunder is there yet, but this is their first year together. The Warriors been together for a couple years, and so have the Spurs and the Rockets. They just added Chris Paul, who already takes care of the ball and makes smart decisions and don't turn the ball over that much. And they took the ball out of James Harden's hands, will give him more time, even though he still gets in his hand a lot. Chris Paul adds somebody that can carry the bench and get a score and open up shots for everybody else around that court. And you can't leave nobody alone because Capella's going to dunk it. The shooter's going to snipe it. And Chris Paul and them going to get their shot anytime they want to. So they're a tough team to cover, and they're a tough team to guard in general. But I think the Warriors have fell off a little bit. Like I said, last year, people thought they was going to go 82-0. This year, they say, hey, they got a whole year. They bench is even better than it was last year. This team going to destroy the NBA, and they not even the number one team. The Rockets was number one for the first couple months. The Warriors was able to get it back, and then they went back down at the All-Star break to number two team in the entire league. The Warriors showing vulnerability. I was talking to my girlfriend about that. They're showing vulnerability. They showing that they can be beat. They showing that people can compete with them. They showing that people can close them out. They showing that they're human. And sometimes that's all you need is to see the blood. Once you see somebody is human, once you see somebody weak, once you see that you can attack them, it's just like hunting. You study them, you try to find them at a vulnerable stage, and then you go in for the kill. And even if they give you a fight, you might fear losing the fight, you might fear dying. But once you get a couple hits in, or you hurt them, or you make them bleed, you feel like you got a shot. No matter how big, tall, or fast a person is, you feel like you got a puncher's chance. And what I'm looking at with this Warriors team, everybody came into the league, even me saying, they got deeper, they got better, and they getting more chemistry. This team going to be the number one team in the NBA. This team going to go right to the finals. And now I'm starting to believe, and I might sound crazy, that would this team as constructed, you know, we seeing a vulnerability, but we watched the finals last year. We watched them get blew out by the Spurs. We watched them struggle against OKC 2 years ago. If they didn't have Kevin Durant, would this team be a dynasty? Would this team still dominate the league? They would have to have Harrison Barnes. They can add more to their bench because they don't have to pay the $25 million to Kevin Durant. But seeing them struggle, like I said, against the Cavaliers, full like the Warriors was full health. They was all the way healthy. The Cavaliers was up 2-1. Memphis was 2-2. That Memphis series was 2-2. They got blew out the first game against San Antonio, and they didn't have Tony Parker, David Lee, and they still was blowing them out last year before Kawhi Leonard got injured. And even the Cavaliers, they won the first 2 games by blowouts. Game 3, they was losing, and Kevin Durant closed that game. Game 4, they actually lost. Game 5, Kevin Durant hit big shots and made big plays to help them beat the Cavaliers that series last year when they won the championship, and he was the finals MVP. He averaged 35 on 50 and 47% from 3. Like, Kevin Durant is the real deal. And that's the question I want you guys to listen to. You know, looking back at that OKC series, that Memphis series, that Cleveland series, they showed that they can be beat in a 7-game series. And now this year, they showing that a lot of teams getting up for them. A lot of teams is beating them. Some teams blowing them out. It happened last year, but it's happening more often this year. And the games are closer. And even though the Warriors still can hit that switch anytime during the game, they done got beat by some of these teams. Like the Thunder blew them out twice. And we going to see what happens next week Saturday. But this team is showing that they're human. And that's the question I want to ask before I end the video. Do you think the Warriors would have won the championship last year if they had Kevin Durant? Would they even make the NBA Finals if they had Kevin Durant last season when they won the championship? This year, I'm seeing that, hey, adding Kevin Durant ain't as bad now that we're seeing how it's playing out. They was the overwhelming favorite going in last year, and they actually was able to do it, but they struggled against the Spurs and other teams. This year, I'm thinking like, wow, they struggling. They getting blew out by a couple teams. People are competing with them. They're getting technicals. They're not getting the respect they deserve. And they're not playing the same basketball that they was playing. They have the similar numbers, but you see a little slippage. You see a little less caring. You see a little bit more people defending them a lot better. And that's the question I want to ask you guys. If they didn't get Kevin Durant last year, would they win the championship? If they make it to the playoffs this year, would they be able to dominate if they didn't have Kevin Durant? I'm thinking that getting Kevin Durant was smart by the Warriors, obviously, but I'm starting to believe that without Kevin Durant, I don't even know if they win the title last year. And with Kevin Durant this year, they look like they're beatable. Would I still pick against the Warriors? No. But I think it's a lot closer than we all thought it would be. We thought they'd just destroy everybody, run through the regular season and run through everybody in the playoffs. But it don't really look like that in year 2. Even though they did get deeper bench-wise and they got more chemistry, it don't seem like they're the overwhelming favorite that they was the first 2 seasons, which is this one and this year. Last year and this year. I'm starting to think that that they have a shot, maybe year 3, that this team might be beatable even more next year than they are this year. So adding Kevin Durant to me was actually necessary. And let me know what you guys think. Check out my website, NosticPlayground.com. Link will be in the description, comment section below. Check out my Facebook page at NosticPlayground.com. Link will be in the description in the comment section below. Quinn Wade, Basketball Gnostics, I'm gone. And let me know, do y'all think Kevin Durant was necessary? Could they win a championship? Can they get back to the finals all these other years without the help of Kevin Durant? Or you think that, hey, OKC could have beat them? Oh, the Spurs could have beat them if they didn't have Kevin Durant? Or even they don't even win the championship like last year because they struggled the last couple games to beat they lost a game too against the Cavaliers. Maybe the Cavaliers win 2 in a row if they don't have Kevin Durant. So let me know what you guys think. Was Kevin Durant necessary? Did they really need him to repeat? Did they really need him to be the team that they are this year, even though they're showing signs of weakness? Let me know what you guys think.